Today I'm going to do the S tier list for your Google business profile. And with so many things to focus on, this is going to give you the very things you need to do that's going to have an impact on your rankings, get you more sales and leads, and get you ranking a lot higher for a lot less effort. And just before we begin, the important thing is to remember that you're not trying to please search engines, you're trying to please customers. That's the best local SEO I can give you when it comes to advice. So you don't need agencies, you don't need to learn about SEO, you just need to put these things in practice that I'm going to show you now. And as an extra bonus, I've put together a tick sheet that you can go through with your business profile. We'll give you 5 actionable tips that are really powerful that most people overlook. So make sure you get hold of that, it's in the description below. But first, let's take the first one in our tier. And this one's pretty important, it's location. So I've given it an A. And the reason I gave it an A is because your proximity, where you register your address, particularly if you're a business that's got a shop, will make a big impact on your results. So when people do a search, their IP address, their proximity is put before Google, and Google will serve up, say, 3 that are quite nearby that person searching. So proximity, where you base your business, makes a massive difference. So we'll give location an A. So now we're going to come on to hours. So why are hours important? Well, I'm going to give them an A as well. They are mega important because when you're open, then Google ranks you. When you're closed, you tend to fall down the rankings. So having larger opening hours will affect your ranking too. So consider, could you open longer, knowing that that is a ranking factor? That's why we're going to give it an A. Next one I'm going to come on to is attributes, and I'm going to give this a D. So this is where we say things like women-led, or maybe we have, say, disabled toilets or parking outside, those types of attributes. They're useful for particularly narrowing down perhaps certain search results, but Google doesn't really promote them in any way. And maybe in the future they'll be more useful with AI. But I'm going to give this a D because I don't think it affects ranking in the same way that some of the other ones do that we're going to look at in a moment. Now for the next one, it's a super tier because it's primary category. Your primary category is probably one of the most important settings you can make. So make sure you've got exactly the right primary category for your business, and you will find it improves your ranking, or it could actually detract from ranking for your business. And that moves us nicely into another super tier, but this is your business name. Now, business names are misused so often because they're so powerful that if you have keywords in about your business, your services, if you have your location in your business name, it has a massive impact on giving you a big advantage in your rankings. But you have to be careful here. Many get suspended because their real business name isn't represented in the business name they've registered with Google Business Profiles. So if you're starting out fresh, you want to register a business name that includes those types of keywords I just mentioned. Realistically, most businesses don't use those, and so therefore you need to be very careful. But it's a big ranking factor, probably so large, slightly unfair at the moment and being misused by many businesses. Now for the next one, it's your Google Business Posts. And I would say that with posts, I'm going to give them a B. And the reason being is that they are useful. They do put a freshness into your profile. Google does promote them. But on the other hand, you need to do one at least once every week. And they don't tend to convert that well. So whether or not that will change in the future with AI, possibly. But at the moment, Google Business Posts are just good for engagement. And so you may want to use them that way. Now the next one I'm going to give an E because it's an absolute waste of time, and if you can change it, don't even worry about it. It's your profile short name. So a few years ago, Google was saying you need to claim your profile short name. It's going to be like getting gold in the hills. Well, guess what? It's not really led to anything at all. So I'm going to give it an E. Google doesn't use it. You can't even get one now. And if you've got one, it shows, but it's of no use whatsoever. Definitely an E for a profile short name. Now the next one is your Google Business Products. So products are perhaps not always easy to do, and we've often said that with services you can package products up so that you've then got, say, times or gift vouchers, and you can make them into products. But is making products really important? It's not going to make a big difference yet. Now I say yet because AI is beginning to use products, and that is one of the things it's starting to promote in its results. But at the moment, I'm going to give it a D because I just don't think it fits that well in your ranking efforts. Now for the next one, we're looking at services. Now with services, you can put a service and then you can put a description below it. And this can be really useful. So I'm going to give it a B. It doesn't tend to change ranking because it's something that you're writing about. But on the other hand, services can cover all the areas that your categories, your primary categories, your second categories, they can't always cover the more finer detail of the services that you do. So I would say get your services in there, because once you get them in there, they're in Google's database. And Google can always draw from their database. The more they know about your business and the detail and the finer detail, the more they can put into their AI results. So at the moment, I give it a B, but look out for services. They may prove more useful in the future. Now the next one I'm going to give a B, and it's the opening date or your founding date. So when your business was first opened, you can put the actual date or the year of when that happened. Is this a big factor? Probably not at the moment. It does establish some authority, maybe even builds trust. If you've got over 10 plus years, that can be quite useful, because sometimes Google does show it in the results that this business has been here for over 10 years plus. But on the whole, I don't think it's making a big difference in your ranking factor this time. So opening dates will give a B. But what about stock photos? Now, you know, so many businesses use stock photos. They go onto Google, they download the image, they then use the image. They perhaps go to, say, iStock, they go to Getty, and they then download images there as well. That even if they're paid for, these are being replicated again and again throughout the same business as yours. So if you keep using the same picture of a plumber that your competitors are using, what does Google think? It just knows that these are replicated. If you do a search on Google Images, you'll see that you can immediately see how many times that image is being used. What does this do? It gives you no credit whatsoever in Google. Google just says, well, these aren't genuine pictures. So as we'll come on to see, genuine pictures make a massive difference. But I'm going to give this an E. This is of no use whatsoever. Copying and just replicating stock photos for your Google business profile on your websites gives no value to your customers at all. In fact, it lessens the trust, because they're not really seeing the people they're going to work with. They're not seeing the real products or the services that you offer. So rethink that one. Now the next one is your website and the link to your website from your profile. Now some have said that they don't think that the website and the profile link together. I tend to disagree. I think if you've got a strong brand, if you've got an established website, and if you've got domain authority on your website, Google knows you've got this stronger brand. It knows it from the web itself. And I think that helps your Google business profile ranking. So I would say it's an A. It may even be a super S, but I'm going to give it an A on the basis that not everyone agrees with that. Now the next one is your business description. And I'm going to give this a B, because I think people get hung up on this. They think it's really important to get all those keywords in to write a great description. What I would say is people may use that description, they may read it to make a decision, so it could influence whether people go with your business or someone else's. But on the whole, I haven't seen a business description really change in rankings at all for a business. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Make sure it's descriptive, but I'm going to put it as a B. Now coming on to the next one, we mentioned it a moment, but we're talking about photos, but unique photos. So where do these fall? Well, I'm going to give them an A. They're mega important. A photo can have 1,000 words in it. And you know what? Google knows what those words are. So Google knows the difference between various objects in there. It knows what's in the background if it's a famous area. If you say you're located in an area, Google knows that from looking at the background of that image. Google's AI is pretty intelligent when it comes to photos. So when you design your logo or your photos and you add them to your profile, to your website, just bear in mind that it's like keywords being written within the image itself. So definitely an A, could even be a super at some point. The next one to look at is your booking button. So some people have really wanted this button. Does it really affect your rankings? Probably not. I mean, it's a nice, useful to have. If you're a particular type of service where booking online is important, so like a hair salon, a nail salon, those types of booking areas, they will definitely make you stand out above the competition. But on the whole, if you don't have a booking button, it's not too much of a big deal, so I'm going to give it a B. The next one is your Q&A section. Now you can ask questions yourself and then give the answers as well. And if you feel that's going to be helpful to customers, then it's a good thing. but I'm going to give it a C on the basis that it doesn't seem to improve ranking if you have a Q&A or not. It's just actually going to help your customers make decisions. So if you can get your FAQ on your website to also marry up with the Q&As on your profile, that's all going to help your customers make good decisions. And that gives positive signals back to Google, which indirectly is a ranking mechanism. So Q&As, FAQs, do add them, but don't worry too much about them. They're not that bigger impact on your rankings. Now the next one is messages, and I'm going to give that one a C. And the reason being is that we used to have messages, or we had chat, then they took it away, then Google's now brought it back, and they've now enabled you to put SMS and WhatsApp. So they do want that type of communication with your customers, but why is it a C? Well, because Google doesn't seem to promote it yet, as you'd expect. So sometimes on a mobile, you do get a version of it, but it seems like it's still in the early stages of what Google's going to do with this. So keep an eye on it. But what I will say is if you look at your profile and you look at your statistics, you'll notice there in the insights, there's an area where it shows how many times people messaged you or chatted with you. And that alone tells you Google is going to be introducing more of this in the future. So as much as I wouldn't worry too much about it at this moment, maybe next year we'll see what they're really intending to do with messages and with chat. So now I'm going to move on to probably one of the biggest trust factors, the biggest going to improve your rankings, and it's all to do with reviews. But it's not always just about the ratings themselves in your reviews. More importantly is how do you react to the reviews? So if you get a 5-star review, obviously you want to reply and thank the person. But it's the keywords that your customer puts in the review that's going to have an impact on your rankings, not what you say in the reply. Also, it's not just about the 5-star review or the 4-star review or whatever review they give. It's more to do with what's the average over time. So if you've got the average of say 4.3, Google's fine with that. Google knows you're going to get some bad reviews from time to time. Now here's the thing, how do you handle the bad reviews? Now if it's a fake review, that's a different matter, which I cover on other videos on here. But if it's a bad review, how do you handle it? You know, those are the reviews that many of your customers will go to. They'll click on worst reviews, they'll read how you respond, and that's where you develop real trust with your customers. Customers know things will go wrong, but how do you deal with those things when they go wrong? Is it a polite reply? Is it a professional reply? That's what's going to get you the ranking factor. So again, just knowing that how you respond to replies and responding to replies, they are probably one of the biggest super tier factors that you can have on your Google Business profile. What about Google Business offers? Well, I'm put this as a C. I think offers are going to be used in the future, so I wouldn't say ignore them. Google still offers or gives you a chance to fill in offers on your business. I think AI is going to be using these a lot in the future. So keep these up to date, but don't stress about them at this moment. I'll put it as a C. Next one is social media links. Well, it's still pretty buggy. I mean, mine's all over the place with 2 Facebooks, used to have 2 Instagrams. It's just not being rolled out properly yet. Used to have it where Google worked out what the social media links were. Now you can actually update them yourself, but I'm not sure it's making a big impact, so I'm going to give it a D at this time. Next one is secondary categories. I'm going to give this a C on the basis that I think they're important. They're a good way of just making sure that you cover other things that perhaps your business does, but your primary category, that's the one you really want to be focused on. Secondary categories, yeah, they're good, just filling in the gaps. Don't overdo it. If it doesn't directly apply to your business, then I wouldn't put it there. So for the next one, if there was an F section, I'll put it in there. Geo-tagging photos. It doesn't appear to make any difference whatsoever to ranking. Don't over worry about it. If your photos have got geo-tagging on, that's fine. The chances are it's probably stripped out by Google. So I'm going to give it an F. Now for the next one, I'm going to say that I'm surprised how high I've had to put this, but realistically it's really, really important, and it's spam fighting. So not something that we particularly want to do, but I'm going to give it super. And the reason being is that so many businesses now are slipping down, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because others are ranking higher than them because they're spamming. They're doing things that aren't right. They're getting fake reviews in. They're adjusting their name. They're adjusting map pins just to get ahead. So you need to keep an eye on these things. And as much as some might feel that it's wrong to report other businesses above them, but if they're breaking the guidelines, Google's giving you the tools to do that. So spam fighting is a real thing that Google actually expects you to do. And so that's why it gets super in the tier category. And the next one, citations. I'm going to give this an A because it's so important to get citations. Google forms its own opinion of your business and your brand and its strength, but Google also then knows what's out there about you. It goes to Yelp and Yellow Pages, it looks at Facebook, it looks at your reviews, it looks everywhere to see what's the web say about you, because it knows that if it's just got its own profile on you, it may be wrong, it could be manipulated. Whereas if it's got all these other profiles it takes into account, it's got a clearer understanding of trust, authenticity. It knows that you're the business you say you are. So don't think it's a waste of time to optimize outside of your Google business profile. It's just a case of giving them the details to show that you're authentic in what you say you are. So there you have 24 powerful local ranking factors, and now you know which ones to focus on. But there's also 5 things you can do right now in my tick list. Powerful things that most business owners aren't doing. So grab that down below in the link. And then also, if you want to know a masterclass on how to optimize your Google business profile, then you need to follow this video next, because I walk you through step by step on all the things that you need to do if you want to rank now.